So here we've got a panel up next here on stage, and we've got three people. We've got Chris Colo, who's going to be the moderator, and he's joined by Parm Sandhu from Telus, and also Amar from Atheer. So please come to the stage, everyone. Thank you.
Great. Great to be here.
Yes, thank you.
How are you?
Good, good. How are you doing, Chris?
Thanks for coming. So this panel is called Behind the Smart Glasses, an enterprise journey to augmented reality with Telus and Atheer. And it's designed to provide you with some insights about how these two organizations that we're happy to host at the summit are working in AR. And they will provide some insights for the enterprise audience here today. So the first panelist is Parm Sandhu from Canada's own TELUS Corporation, the fastest growing telecommunications company and the #1 health IT provider in Canada. You'll hear from Parm, who's the Director of Network and Systems Operations at TELUS, about why TELUS is exploring the use of AR to improve the speed and quality of service work on its network across the country, and how the company arrived at decision to do so. We'll then turn to Amar of Atheer, who's the COO. Atheer is a Mountain View, California-based company, one of the veterans in the still young enterprise AR ecosystem. And Amar will build on the ideas that Parm discusses about why companies across the industrial spectrum are looking to AR to solve many of their most urgent business challenges, and look at how those companies use AR to make money, save money, reduce risk, and improve the productivity and safety of their workforces. With that, I will turn over to Parm to tell us, no pun intended, about how TELUS came to explore AR as a way to help enhance the work of its network and systems operations. Parm?
Sure. Thank you, Chris. Really happy to be here. We're really excited about what VR AR is going to help in our industry, both ourselves as a telecommunications company, but also as a services that we can build for our end customers. A little bit about TELUS, and hopefully give you an idea of where it applies. There's been a lot of great topics covered today. TELUS is the fastest growing telecommunication company. We offer services around mobile, internet, ISP internet services, entertainment, TV, as well as enterprise services for our customers, large business customers, pretty much in all the verticals. And in addition, we are also the largest health IT, one of the largest health IT companies in Canada. In terms of, maybe I'll just take you through a couple of the main business units that we have. Obviously, in mobility, we have one of the lowest customer churns. We've decided to go on a journey to invest in customer experience. And how does AR, VR fit? It fits across that ecosystem, both in network reliability, in our experience in terms of how we talk to our customers and how we engage our customers at the end. In the internet side and home services and business services, we are in the midst of deploying fiber optic network throughout our service areas, and we're about halfway through that now. And that's going to enable a lot of bandwidth and a lot of services that AR, VR is going to deliver to them, that it's going to, customers are going to use. In addition, we have in terms of data centers for our customers. So think about services we can offer there. In addition, in the healthcare side, from a IT perspective, we provide solutions for physicians, for health insurance companies, even for end customers. So we recently have just purchased a software that we've launched, allows customers to see do virtual visits with their doctors. So we live in BC. BC is one of the unique regions where they actually allow virtual visits for the patient. So again, this is where these technologies can be deployed. So overall, let me say from a TELUS perspective, we see a lot of different segments that we see AR, VR being applied. And we are looking at this technology, trying to figure out the solutions that we need and validate those solutions in the field. And we definitely want to create those solutions and use them ourselves in addition to enabling these services for our customers. So that's a bit of overview of kind of how TELUS and the relevance in this space. And I think we're really excited about this technology.
So that's really great to hear. A major network operator and a IT provider, a health IT provider. But I understand, Amar, that similar journeys, similar experiences are being taken by other companies in the manufacturing and other verticals. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. And thank you, Chris, and the association for putting this event on. These journeys are starting to be undertaken, but they are literally just starting to be undertaken. So it's a really early stage market, and it's a market where folks are starting to experiment. Folks are starting to see the potential of business cases and use cases and ROI. But I'm always reminding customers, I'm always reminding our own team that we are at the very beginnings of this journey. So it's incumbent on us, that's on the vendor side of the community, to support customers, support people who are experimenting, move as quickly as we can to help them, find solutions for the kind of problems that Parm has described. There's been a huge difference and a huge move just in the last year in terms of the type of conversations that we're having with enterprises. There are now legitimate use cases. There are now legitimate returns on investment being experienced. There is a sense of clarity in terms of, where are the places that this technology could be applied. It's very different from a year ago when there was it was very much a stage of the market where people weren't sure, so there was just a lot of very basic experiments happening. So it's structured. We see a set of use cases. The most common ones that we see: help us with field service, help us with dealer service, help us with maintenance and repair operations, help us with training and certification, help us with warehousing and logistics. Those are the five main sets of use cases that we see.
So that's really hopefully new insights to people, but can you also advise us on how people should just get started in AR? If you work at an enterprise, what's the first thing they should do, or how to approach this?
So once again, and maybe it's just the way that we think about this stuff is that this is a stage where these decisions to deploy AR are still, we believe, experimental. So what we will typically say to a customer is, and even if they come to us and say we want to deploy at a wide scale across our entire organizations, we will normally temper their enthusiasm a little bit, and we will typically say, let's go on a journey that starts off with a pilot. And in fact, a pilot that has two components to it. There is a technical validation that we need to do. What hardware would suit us? What hardware will our people like? Will it even be a cultural fit? Maybe it won't be. Maybe our people just will not respond to it. So we'll typically say, let's go through that period. Then we'll go through a period of time when we're actually trying to establish with the customer a use case and a business case that they can then take to elsewhere in the organization. And we will typically say to our customers is that only after you've done those two should we really be talking about a production-wide deployment. Because after all, if we don't do those things and we have taken your money, you will end up not being happy with us. So we try to go through this journey. So my advice is always the same, is don't try to boil the ocean. Don't try to do multiple use cases. Pick one use case, make it successful, pick a handful of users, demonstrate an ROI, take the ROI up to the powers that be, and use that as the capital for the next stage.
And Parm, from your perspective, from your side being within a company like TELUS, what will be your advice for folks out there? How do you introduce AR into an organization like TELUS?
Yeah, I think Amar touched on some of the key concepts, and from our point of view, we're still very early stage. We've done a number of technology pilots throughout the company, both around the hardware aspects, as well as in terms of content creation, all sort of the broad spectrum of things. The use case that we want to really look at from our point of view, I run the field service operation for our core network services that are used to deliver, or networks that deliver all of our end services. So internet, TV, voice and telecommunication services. One of the aspects that we want to look at is really prove out the business case, the use case and applicability of it, and find out what are the challenges we're going to run into, and how do we build a full solution together. So, starting with a pilot that really tests this both from a end user and content and platform that you need, and really at the end of the day, it's that full platform that we talked about earlier in some of the conversations. From our point of view, we want to test that, validate that in short periods of time. It's not meant to be a very broad scope. It's narrow scope. Figure out what we want to do. Primarily, the use cases that we're looking at are field service. How could we improve the reliability of our network so that we can repair things quicker, faster repair times? How can we avoid our field technicians sending out field technicians to the field, or remote experts to the field? How could we leverage remote support more effectively so we're not having to send those team members to our end network sites? So this is really, I think, a great example of where we're trying to deploy AR solutions, AR, VR, AR solutions. There's also a human aspect, human change aspect. That's a key part, that when you're deploying anything new that fundamentally changes what people are going to be, how they're going to be doing their job, you can't overlook the change management side. And I think that is the biggest challenge. So and you have to take a very pragmatic approach to human change management, because you could deploy a technology, the technology might be great, but if the end users are not happy with it, they're not going to use it, and your business case isn't going to work. So one of our aspects really is to how do you manage that in an organization like TELUS? We've got multi-years of technology. Some of the systems that are out there are probably older than half the people in this room, or majority of the people in this room. We've got to go through and figure out how do we support that broad spectrum of technology and deliver the skills, the training that our resources need. And if you think about Canada, we've got our teams are distributed throughout very large geography. It's not practical for us to bring those team members into classroom training all the time for 2-3 weeks. We've got regions of services, and there's new technology that's being deployed at a very, very rapid pace. So bringing those team members in and putting them through training classrooms, and then they may not use it for 3 months and then they forget. There's that retention component that we need to work through. So our point of view is that you have to have a very solid use case behind it, and then to deliver on that use case, we want to make sure that we've got the right hardware. Once we've got that right hardware, there's multiple flavors of hardware today. We're working in, we're not in a nice environment like this. Our team members are in the field. They're working on a corner of a noisy street, or they're working in a nice, network building or a network office. So the environment that they're in is going back and forth as well. So you can imagine the challenges to introduce a technology like this, or a solution like this, into TELUS, and trying to get everyone engaged into it. So our truly belief is that you need to validate both the technology, the hardware, as well as the platform end to end, and then really work with you're enabling teams to address that sort of human change management component. You're always, in any change management, you've got the early adopters who are just going to, they're like flies. They're going to come to this stuff and they're going to want to use it. But then you've got that other aspect of groups who are like, I don't really need this stuff. I do what I do. And, those are the challenges that you need to resolve. So within TELUS, we have a very practical approach to how we handle change management. And again, that's in every sector. If you're going to work in healthcare IT, you've got doctors that are, very new doctors that are coming out of school. They're open to technology. And then you've got somebody who's been in the field for, practicing for 15, 20, 30 years. They're not very open to change, and we see that throughout. So from our point of view, if we could go through and demonstrate both the solid metrics, so having metrics in terms of that demonstrate a business benefit, and then there's good adoption and great feedback from the end users, that really helps to sell this type of a technology in an organization or a solution like this. We know that this is the future. We all see it. We saw it with smartphones. Now everybody thinks, okay, it's just smartphone. Everybody's got to have one. It's just you can't live without it. This technology will become part of that type of I think we're all hoping it will. I know it will based on what I've seen. Our goal, the other aspect we're also doing is we're building these networks that you're going to need. We're building the fiber optic network to the home. We're building data centers that can run and process, the processing power that's needed. And we're also building, faster wireless networks, 4G, 5G. So those are all the key enablers of this broader ecosystem and platform. And we view this as, driving that sort of next level of data traffic and data growth. So I think, those are the key challenges. You have to address those barriers before you sort of cross that chasm of adoption. That's generally the approach we've taken.
Yeah, so I've been hearing cost savings, efficiency, training, but also on the revenue side, you deploy 5G networks and AR will be driving data consumption. So
data
it's
consumption
all coming together.
And I think the way we're looking at it is if we kind of eat our own dog food, so to speak, we can build those solutions that we're using to sell to our end customers. Because our end customers are looking, and that's the real benefit that we bring, is we bring that curated experience to our customers, especially in healthcare. We have pharmacy management solutions for our pharmacists. We have health record solutions for doctors. But we have to really understand the interaction of those customers with their customers. It kind of look funny if I walk into a doctor's office and my doctor is recording everything. I'm going to freak out the first time I see it. It's not natural yet, right? And same thing with a pharmacist or a first responder who's going out to an accident scene. There's a lot of practical uses of the technology, and we really need to, I think, at least from our experience, we really need to validate those. So my encouragement is do the validation of the pilot. Look at it both from a business and metrics perspective, but also look at it from a human and UX perspective. And we can't have too many users carrying 5 or 6 different pieces of hardware either. So those are kind of the challenges we're trying to look at.
Great. We'll have time for 2 questions, so get them ready. And do you want to comment on anything that Parm said, Amar?
No, I except for this is that this is a new category of enterprise software. As Parm said, it's inevitable. It is coming. If you're not thinking about it today, I promise you your competition's thinking about it right now. And this is a market that over the next couple of years, there will be very few enterprises, industrial enterprises, that are not investing in this technology. So that's why it's great, Chris and the VRARA Association for putting on these type of events.
And thank you for sponsoring and helping us put this
Well, thank you for bringing it to Vancouver. That's near and dear to our hearts as well. So, I just encourage people, just, spend the time here, just learn, see what people are doing, come see us. We'd love to tell you what some of our customers are doing. And
Yeah,
that's
Atheer, you have a booth 601. It's the one with the Porsche, so you can't miss it. But any questions? Well, no more questions, so thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Chris.
you.
And see you on the show floor.
Thank you.
Thanks.